Hello everyone, we're going to talk about the latest manga chapter, 1130. On the first page, we see Frankie telling the warriors to end their search for the crew. Even though they haven't found them, Frankie assures them that it should be fine. He really trusts that nothing bad has happened to them. He's confident they're all alive and says they should just wait in Elbaph, especially since they're running low on food. Broggy then comments that it should be fine because the crew said so. Next, we see Luffy checks out a huge tree, commenting that it must be 1,000 years old. They also wonder if it's a mountain before discovering a very long rope bridge. They notice giants crossing the bridge and decide they should hide. The giant approaching is from the new giant pirates. They are Gerd, the ship's doctor, and Goldberg, the ship's cook. Gerd and Goldberg discuss about Road and why Hajruddin allowed him to join the crew. Goldberg comments that Road is a skilled navigator, while Gerd admits she can't stand him, saying they might call Loki the shame of Elbaph, but Road deserves that title even more. Goldberg then says he might even like it. They then ask the owl if it saw the crow carrying a small ship. Goldberg laughs, saying they should arrest the intruders, but Road keeps smuggling them. While hiding, Luffy wants to talk to the giants because they seem like nice people. Usopp is overjoyed, realizing they're in Elbaph, while Sanji, as usual, is smitten after seeing a beautiful giant. Nami, however, tries to silence them. The giants sense something, but dismiss it as their imagination, then proceed to ask if Road is around. Next, we see the crew crossing the bridge, but the gaps are huge. Below the bridge, there are wolves everywhere. Zoro asks Luffy what's wrong, and Luffy says he feels something, getting goosebumps. As they debate whether to investigate, Sanji, even before Zoro can speak, tells him he's not allowed to enter. They joke that all forests are off limits to Zoro since he always gets lost, and this forest is enormous. Then Luffy hears a roar from the bottom of the forest and jumps down to check it out. Usopp tries to reassure himself, saying there's nothing to be afraid of because he's a brave warrior. On the giant ship, they read the newspaper about the events at Egghead. They're furious to learn that the paper claims they attacked Egghead Island. Back in chapter 1124, we saw Morgan crafting this narrative, while Vivi argued with him, knowing that Luffy's crew wouldn't do such a thing. Robin reads out the new bounties for Dory and Broggy, as the print is too small for them to see. Their new bounty is 1.8 billion berries each. We first met them in Little Garden, where they fought for 100 years without a winner. Their bounty back then was only 100 million berries. It makes sense that their bounty would increase, especially given all the recent events they've been involved in. The news also claims that Luffy killed Vegapunk, even though the crew tried to save him. In the newspaper, we can see that Luffy has an X on his hand. Robin then mentions Luffy's sun god Nika form and wonders if the mark on his arm was always there. Being Robin, she notices that while Luffy's arm is blurry, the mark on it is crystal clear, and it looks familiar. One Piece fans will recognize this from episode 130, where the crew showed their X marks to signal to Vivi that they would always be friends, even if she didn't continue the journey with them. This suggests that Vivi is telling them she's alive and well. Of course, Robin would know this since she was aboard the ship during that time. Oda-sensei cleverly separated the crew for those who didn't catch this reference. Dory then remarks that Luffy now has the same status as red-haired Shanks, as he's one of the emperors of the sea. The giants also discuss Hajruddin, saying he's now their ally. They talk about him being the king's son and mention that someone must keep an eye on a troublesome guy in Elbaph. The giants then speak of another prince in Elbaph, calling him the Accursed Prince. He sought darkness and despair and was sentenced to crucifixion. He tried to flee, but the warriors banded together to capture him. Jinbe might know something about this prince. Loki killed his father to obtain the legendary fruit for himself. They stress that Prince Loki must never escape again, as it could bring disaster. They say he's the shame of Elbaph. We then see Luffy and Prince Loki tied up with massive chains, looking intense. Loki asks Luffy's name, and as always, Luffy responds with his signature line that he's going to become the king of the pirates. Finally, we get a view of all of Elbaph, including a giant tree. As Loki gives his speech, the island starts shaking again. Loki's final words are that he's the sun god who will end the world. How strong is this guy? Just talking makes Elbaph tremble. Is he stronger than Kaido? What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments.